Hope everybody's doing well. I am really, really grateful, and I am coming on here because I have what I think is just some really powerful inspiration that I wanted to share with everyone. Um, and it's relating to this concept of purpose uh, that I've struggled for a really, really long time to find in my own life. Like the purpose for why I created paradigm shifting, or why I've gone through like the challenges and the turbulence of the relationships that I've gone through, and kind of the messaging that kind of supports the truth and the reality of who it is that I am as I kind of embody this form. And one of the things that really stands out for me, as far as like, hey, taking a look at all the obstacles that I've had to overcome, has been related to those intimate relationships and how they came about and dissolved, and looking at the course of my life and all of the things that I experienced and I was taught subconsciously, consciously, about who it is I am and how to be, and lack of a father, and all these other story, right? All these other components of the story. And it came to it came to clarity yesterday when I was on a call. It was a beautiful call about kind of exploring, hey, what is your purpose? Like, who is it that you're here to serve, and why? And the clarity became that a large portion of my life is about experiencing the intimacy with the divine feminine, and then like becoming aware of all the suffering that has happened to the divine feminine, and tying that to the unfulfillment that most people experience, both male and female, because of the collective, like, density of all of those things that have happened, not just to a specific individual, but to the collective, right? Like, looking at the impact of, thousands of years of challenges and mistreatment and trauma and illusory perceptions that women have had to deal with, and carry like all of the weight, right, of being a mother, and transitioning from our old way of being, where women were typically responsible for taking care of the community, taking care of the household, and now this whole new dynamic of the empowered woman and her responsibility in her life to generate income and kind of be a provider, because of the absence of men to a vast degree. And this is all intercorrelated in the idea that there's a vast majority of people that grow up in broken homes, right? And you look at the past 4 or 5 generations, and the increase of that percentage of how many people have actually been raised in broken homes. And I feel like a big part of that has shown itself, right? It's revealed itself in the nature of the way that we look at the relationship between men and women today. And so as I'm kind of going through this whole conversation and exploring my purpose, I look back over the course of my failed relationships, and I know that the thing that I had to learn was how to really embody my divinity, is how I had to step forward and learn how to be unconditional outside of what it is that I want, like outside of the physical aspects of what it is that I want, and put that aside and come from a place of true, unconditional, compassionate love, even in the face of circumstances that most people would think are just unacceptable, right? Unacceptable. And so the thing that I've realized is that what most people what most people are missing, and what I think is really, really needed for women, is that men show up in a way where they are connected to their divinity. They're connected to their soul. They have a soul connection. And in that, we can step into relationships and hold a space that has long been denied women in general. And, um, and in doing that, we create a relationship with that divinity. We create a relationship with our soul where we can look through the illusory aspects of the circumstances of how things might not be the way that we want them to be. how the person isn't responding behaviorally, or how they haven't healed different aspects that are showing up and causing obstructions in our relationships. And be able to see through that illusion and still hold that space of love and compassion and empathy and kindness. And so I think that this is the big opportunity for us, is to understand what that practice looks like to reestablish that connection, where we're working not to create and validate a physical relationship and all of the expressions of the ways that that shows up for us in the physical world, but we turn inward and develop that level of intimacy and connection and sacredness with ourselves, because I'm never going to see a reflection of what I want that's a physical manifestation, right? That it's like I'm never going to see the ideal relationship from the egoic aspect that experiences it. The only way I will ever find my divine connection is if I'm looking at the circumstances and the situations of my life from my divine perspective. And if I don't do the work to know my soul, if I don't do the work to know my spirit, if I don't do the work to show up as an expression of unconditional divine love, it's always going to be the ego's perspective and the ego's lens that I'm looking at things through. And I'll never find it. I'm looking for something somewhere where it doesn't exist. And so I encourage all of you to reach out. If this message resonates, I encourage you to reach out and talk. I'm in the process of doing some really, really profound work, and I think it's going to be transformational in a huge, huge way that I never really fathomed could be a reality. And I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to get your thoughts, and yeah, stay tuned, because I'm just going to continue kind of creating content and things that really support this area where I think there's a huge opportunity for women to understand and be in the presence of that possibility from the perspective of the awakened masculine. All right, I hope you guys are all well. Take care.